Morning and welcome everybody to the February 11th, 9:30 a.m. for Magistrate McCullum, Henderson County Fiscal Court meeting. We're glad you're with us today. We're going to begin as we always do with an invocation, and Father Larry McBride from Holy Name Church is with us. Please stand as he leads us in prayer.
Our good and gracious God, we are thankful for all your many gifts and blessings, for the abundance of blessings which you have poured upon this county, for the gifts of leadership and wisdom, for the gifts of our people who are hard workers and seek to do their best in all that they do. We ask you to bless this group of people gathered here today, that guided by the Holy Spirit, they may make wise decisions, especially for the poor and needy, especially for those who feel like they have no voice in our community, and for those who speak a different language. May they always stand up for those who are in need and speak for them. We ask you to bless this gathering today, that wise decisions may be made for our community. And we ask all of this through Christ our Lord. Amen.
Would you all mind joining me in a moment of silence for our colleague Jeff Risley, who passed away on Friday? Thank you. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Father.
Thank you, Brad.
Appreciate it. Mr. Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Magistrate Southern.
Here.
Magistrate Moran.
Here.
Magistrate Putman.
Here.
Magistrate Berry. Here. Magistrate McCullum.
Barely here.
Ladies and gentlemen, you have in front of you the January 28th, 2020 minutes for our Henderson County Fiscal Court meeting. After a period of review, I'll
Make a
entertain
motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any other corrections, clarifications, or additions? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? This is Judges Scholar Week again, and we're really proud to have with us Alex Frankie from Jefferson Elementary School. And if Alex would join me right here in front. Alex, we're going to read a special proclamation in your honor, and we're going to take some.
Whereas Alex Frankie has been chosen by Jefferson Elementary School to be the recipient of the Judges Scholar Award because she made a choice to accept changes that would benefit her education and well-being. And whereas change is not easy, however, Alex's ability to embrace change has led to growth that will only further her in successes in life. And whereas success is measured in many different ways, whether it be passing a test, scoring the winning point, achieving a particular goal, or taking the necessary steps for overall improvement, and whereas the Henderson County school system could not let Alex's efforts go unnoticed, and whereas the Henderson County Fiscal Court supports the school system and acknowledges these changes as being significant because students, such as Alexis, will be our future leaders. And now, therefore, I, Brad Schneider, County Judge Executive of Henderson, join with the Henderson County Fiscal Court to proclaim today, February 11th, 2020, as Alex Frankie Day.
Count members of the family and representatives from Jefferson. Congratulations, Alex. That's a big deal. Glad you're with us. Always nice to have a partner up here to help keep Steve Gold in check. So keep an eye on him.
Tough job. Gotta watch out.
Okay, moving on. Our next item is agreement about the Blackford Creek Bridge, and Kirsten Jaggers from the Kentucky Transportation Cabinet is with us. And if you'd been joining Bill Hubiak at the podium, just to give us an update on this project.
Judge, I'd like to, and members of court, introduce Kirsten Jaggers from KYTC. She is their public relations officer who has taken Keith Todd's place, who retired finally, I believe.
So is this report.
Oh, my God. Well, we haven't got rid of him yet, but anyway, she's going to take that position over, I hope. Anyway, she's here from KYTC. Pam couldn't make it today. She has a prior commitment come up that she forgot about, I think. Mr. Gold, we did forward the corrections to her, so the agreement will be subject to the modifications of the things that you put in there. But
Thank you.
KYTC offered a bridge up. This is an antique bridge over Blackford Creek on the Davis-Hancock County line. It's a 60-foot span, one-lane bridge. As you know, in the development of Sandy Lee Watkins Park, we have 535 acres out there, which we are currently developing and have been for several years. We put in for this bridge, along with 6 other groups that wanted the bridge. KYTC selected Henderson County to be the recipient of the structure for preservation. This bridge is a key component to our park, will allow us to install the bridge for us to complete the 5K walking trail loop back around to the front of the park. So this will go over the creek that's right there by the entrance where you come in to the park, where the driving bridge is. This will be off to the right-hand side, and we'll cross the drainage way right there. So we'll pull it up here in just a second. The bridge is located right up there. Blow that up there. Okay. As you can see right here where the runaround was, when we built the bridge over here, that's where we will be putting this bridge in, across that drainage way right there. Right now, the current walking trail system comes around the park and terminates over about right down here. Further down. It terminates right about right here. And we'll bring it across the road and then wind it up through here and cross over and bring it around to the front where the trailhead is. When we laid the park out, we laid it out specifically so they have the capability to have a 5K run. The bridge that we are getting will be in addition to the bowstring bridge that we received from Brecken County in northern Kentucky and repurposed down here. And it has been a popular asset to the park with engagements and weddings, picture taking right there, as you can see. So this will be the second bridge at the park. Under the current plans, we have a need for 2 more for our system of bridging the drainage ways and sloughs for our walking trail system at the park as it develops. And it would be very nice to have 4 different historic bridges at the park where people can come visit. Of course, we will go and look at this structure this week. As in the previous one, I believe it can be picked in one piece without the concrete deck on it. And we will transport it via lowboy from Davis County over to the Henderson County Sandy Lee Watkins Park for placement, where we will look at it structurally, probably reinforce the deck area because it would be put back to its original status of being a wooden plank piano bridge. So, any questions, concerns?
And this is basically a gift to the county from KYTC, correct?
Yes.
Yes, in KYTC, there is some funding available for the transport and some other things that we're going to work through. They were wanting to have funding available to us for dismantling it. I think it can be taken in one piece, which will save immensely on the cost, and maybe we can work something out with KYTC to help pay for some of the footer support of the piers or something of that nature, make it both equitable on both parties. But not taking it apart and being able to transport it in one piece is a huge cost savings to both parties. So, and we're proud to have it. I think it'll be a great asset to our community and our park and our county.
Will you clean it up and have the same black color as the boat bridge?
Yes, we will have it. We will paint it up. What we did with the last one, we wanted to preserve its original patina. We fixed some of the damaged structure, some of the iron that was damaged on it, straightened them out, put new pieces in and replaced it. The parks people, and I believe Brittany was one of them, elbow greased. We wire brushed it all down, just removing all the scale, and then painted it with a metal preservative paint, like a Rust-Oleum type thing to preserve it. And we also reinforced the deck on this one, so before we put the planking on it, just to make sure that we can drive a emergency vehicle like an ambulance across it should need be, something like that, or a pickup truck parked vehicle. No heavy traffic. They're not supposed to drive. No unauthorized vehicles are supposed to go across it. But we have a plaque right there behind it, as you can see in the little area right there, and it has pictures of the bridge before we picked it, and when we started reinstalling it, and then the finish. And it also has the complete history of where the bridge originated from and how this bridge here was moved prior to us getting it. Was moved once. It was built by I believe the Cincinnati Bridge Company, and it was on the Ohio side of the state of Ohio side of the Ohio River before it was moved to Kentucky, where we got it from. So.
Do you happen to have the history of this bridge we're about to get?
Yes, we do. And it's we have I believe the Hancock County Library had done some research on it, and it might be back here a little bit. I'm not for sure yet, but anyway.
I know for additional research.
Yeah, the Davis County Library has it. We'll get that from them. They couldn't be here today. They want to follow this, and I believe the Davis County or Hancock County newspaper wants to follow the bridge from start to finish being moved and do a story on it so that everybody knows where it's going. So.
I think it's a really neat project, and to eventually have, hopefully, 4 antique bridges meeting our needs in the park, each with its own story.
That's correct.
And looking good as new would be really a unique part of the development of our park. Yeah. So thanks to KYTC for considering us. I think we're going to take good care of this bridge and keep the history alive for future visitors. Well, and we've earned our spurs, I think, with the bowstring bridges showing we can take care of these really interesting pieces of civil engineering.
Yes.
So.
And what's really neat so far is the 2 bridges. They're 2 different types.
Yeah.
And then the third one I've got my eye on right now is actually different than the 2 that we already have procured. So it's a possibility. It'd be really nice to have 4 different types of truss-type bridges or bowstring, different types of engineering feats. So I mean, it's interesting, and I think it'll be a draw to our county. So.
I agree.
So.
As was mentioned, KYTC and Mr. Gold are still working out a couple fine points.
Yes.
So I'd like to entertain a motion to accept the final contract pending the resolution of these small points and letting KYTC and Mr. Gold's office complete the transaction.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any other comments or questions? I think this is a terrific thing. Thank you very much. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Thank you all very much. We appreciate your support, and I know Brittany does. So.
Yes. Thank
Good
you
job,
all.
Brittany.
Thank you.
Next item is similar in the fact that we are renewing our County Road Aid Cooperative Agreement with KYTC. Any descriptions or additions you have to that?
Yeah, this is what we do every year. Henderson County has been part of the County Road Aid Cooperation Agreement since I've got here in 1997. This is where they give us basically the county road aid money in 3 sections. We get so much in the fall, then we get so much in, I believe it's February, right? February, we just receive some, and then we get the residual at the end of the year, which is actually in our next fiscal year. But it gives us money to work with during the year to do our blacktopping and road construction and different things. I believe it has worked well for the 22 years, and I believe it's probably the best way to get the funding from them. It helps both the state and the county, and I believe out of the 120 counties, 90% of them are participants in this system.
And every year, Mr. Gold reminds KYTC that one section of this cooperative agreement is not, in fact, constitutional, and they agree to exit out, and we've never had a problem with that.
Section 8 indemnification, it's unconstitutional for the state to indemnify in any contract. The county is a subdivision of the state, therefore the county cannot indemnify, yet in every contract KYTC does and sends to counties, they put indemnification in there. So,
And we correct them every time.
we can pen and ink to the extent allowable by law prior to that, because it's not, and it nullifies the entire paragraph.
So what I'd
And
also
they've been
like,
okay with that in the past.
I'd like a motion to approve this pending Mr. Gold's correction of this with the state. Again, this happens every year, and they insist on sending the same contract back to us every year, and they work that out. So I have a motion to that effect.
So moved.
Motion and a second. Any further questions? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you very much.
Can we build them for Steve's time?
Sure.
It's
Never know.
the same research every year that I do and keep sending to a different lawyer up there that goes, hey, you're right.
Gotta love attorneys.
Next, you're looking at the recommendation from our maintenance supervisor here, Charlie Ransom, on the 2 bids submitted for custodial services for both the courthouse and the judicial center. Actually, the 2 bids were quite different in total price. Current vendor, France. The difference in total cost from the other bidder, Dirt Finders, was almost $36,000. So we'd like to, working with France, they've been our vendor for a couple of years now. We've had some good meetings with them in the last year about making sure they meet minimum administrative office of the court standards, and both Mr. Ransom and I would make a recommendation to accept France's bid.
So moved.
I have a motion and a second. Any other questions that I can help answer on this? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Mr. Gold, your payments?
Judge, not much today. Alex, I'm sorry. No, normally I have a whole lot of money I can hand to the judge's scholar that can hand to the judge. But today, Judge, it is a whopping $85.64 that I have to turn over to you. Alex, would you hand that to the judge, please?
Thank you very much. Motion to approve and accept county attorney payments. Motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Treasurer Brenda Ryder.
have no fund transfers. I do have claims from the general fund to Renisa Abner in the amount of $4,312.60. This is for training incentive, and this is to come from the clerk's training incentive appropriation line and to be paid with the February 2020 payroll. From the general fund also to Henderson Leadership Initiative in the amount of $1,500. This is to come from the sheriff's training and conference appropriation line. To Visa in the amount of $1,464.24. The majority of this is to come from the judge and fiscal court training expense appropriation lines. And the road fund to the Kentucky State Treasurer in the amount of $4,130.72. This is reimbursement to the Kentucky Transportation Cabinet for proceeds that were received by the county for the fiscal year 16 emergency project of the Green River Road Bridge, and this is to come from the bridge construction appropriation line. These were emergency grant proceeds that were received by estimate, and when it was reconciled, we do have to return a small portion of that. From the jail fund to Palmer Oil in the amount of $1,410.85 for fuel. This is to come from the prisoner transport appropriation line. To Wex Bank in the amount of $944.02. This is for fuel and to come from the prisoner transport appropriation line. To U.S. Bank in the amount of $3,936.33. The majority of these expenses are to be paid from the training, travel, equipment repairs, and prisoner transport appropriation lines. To Old National Wealth Management in the amount of $232,825. This is for the principal and interest of the 2017 kitchen project bond. Approximately $72,000 of this will come from the remaining proceeds of the construction bond that were left after the project was completed. The remaining approximately $160,000 will come from the jail's debt service appropriation line. From the LGEA fund to the Cliff Hagen Boys and Girls Club in the amount of $6,000, and this is the balance of the $10,000 appropriation for the current fiscal year.
Any other questions about that? Getting that large amount from the jail is their budgeted debt payment on their kitchen bond, just in case you're wondering.
I move we pay the claims.
A second.
Motion and a second, pay the claims. Any other questions or comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? One more item. We had a CD for approximately $770,000 mature at Field and Main Bank. We were getting a whopping 0.05% interest on it. 0.05. 0.005. 0.5%. And we'd like to cash that and shop it around, try to get a little bit more for our money. Finance Committee discussed this, recommended we do that. We may find a couple different places to put it to get a little bit better deal. So I'd like to get a motion to allow me to go ahead and do that.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any other questions about that? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
Thank you.
And is anything else? I'm sorry.
No, I think.
Is Chris Winstead with us? I didn't see him in the... Oh, there you go. Gotcha. The ambulance service has bid request. I think they're going to just request a lot of bids. So.
Yes. Good morning. The ambulance service would like to request the court's permission to open up the bidding process for the possible purchase of a 2019-2020 Type 1 ambulance. This will be replacing one of our older vehicles.
And this was contemplated in the budget going into this year, correct?
Yes.
Yeah. So they'd like to begin the bidding process. They'll develop.
This is at the beginning of the process. We're just getting permission to
Begin.
request bids and put out the specs for that request.
Again, it was budgeted expense.
One of the trainings were in last year, was talking about the reverse bidding process, where it's kind of like doing an eBay thing. And this might be a real good place to try that, to where they're bidding on, the bids are open, so they kind of bid against each other to come in for the low bid.
Yeah, it's an open bidding process. We post out requests for bids. We'll put a notice in the newspaper and notify vendors, and they can bid.
This is a little different. He's talking about something else.
Is he? Okay, I'm not.
And there's still some kinks involved in that, and actually implementing reverse bidding process. They haven't done this before. I don't know how many vendors are typically bidding on this. Is it one or two, or
Usually we get 3 vendors at least.
the same 3?
Yeah, or we try to. It just depends on who submits a bid.
I'd say in lieu of that, we just need permission for them to begin the process of bidding out this ambulance.
I'm good with that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Want to make a motion to that effect?
Make a motion to move forward with it.
Get a second? Motion and a second. Any other questions? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Good luck.
All right. Thank you.
Before we get into go to the county, I'd like to introduce Alex Cottle. Many of you know Alex as former executive director of the Henderson Area Arts Alliance, but he now has a new job representing DLG in our corner of Kentucky. And Alex, if you want to come up and just say a couple things.
Thank you, Judge. Well, I think I know most everybody, but wanted to come by and reintroduce myself on behalf of the Department for Local Government and Governor Beshear. So if y'all ever need anything from me, let me know. It was nice today only having to drive half a mile instead of, 200 miles like I have to for a lot of these meetings. But I've got some cards with me, and I'll be staying after, so we'd love to chat with y'all more and look forward to working with you, and thank you for your service. Thank you, Judge.
And it's safe to say Alex got off to a running start. It's been drinking out of a water hose, and at the Judges Association meeting last week, he was working the halls well and getting to know more people. So thanks for helping, and we'll be in touch a lot, I'm sure. Okay, if anybody else would like to say anything for good of the county from the audience, come on up, Bruce.
I just want to make the court aware of a couple of things going on. The judges and I have been talking about this, but as of January 30th, the local funeral homes quit transporting bodies for the coroner's office like they've been doing for years. We've got a temporary fix going on right now, and we're talking to some people and trying to come up with something, but we're looking at everything from us transporting them to other divisions transporting them and or contracting it out. So it's one of these things we're working on. The other thing is on the indigent care package. There's a joint city-county committee now together looking at that, and we're meeting again this week to come up with clearing up the city's indigent program and trying to get a guideline of what would be a good one for the county to use also, so that everybody be on the same page how we're doing this.
To clarify, this is not indigent care. This is indigent burial, right?
Yeah, indigent burial.
Yes.
That, trust me, she knows. But that's where we stand on that. So there's still some work on that, but a joint city-county group is working on that. And like I said, once we clear up the city side, and hopefully I can bring a copy to the county, and you all can look at it and see if y'all are okay with the same setup, since we now have a line item indigent fund in there. So just wanted to bring you up to speed as to what we're doing, and I'll be back.
Just as a warning, and I think you might have read a recent story about this challenge. For a couple, 3 years, we didn't have any money set aside for helping indigent folks get a proper burial. On Bruce's advice, we put that back in there because we have noticed an uptick in these situations. And we also have been advised by the state that merely cremating these folks is not necessarily legal. And there may be many instances where we're not allowed to do that, and that is less expensive than a formal burial. But we'll have to follow the law, and we may have to add money to that line item as the year goes on here. I'm not sure exactly why this has become more of a problem. It could be because health care advances allow us to live longer, and in some cases that's not always a great thing because folks become estranged from their families and there's nobody to take care of them when they pass away.
There's a couple of counties that have passed ordinances about doing cremations on theirs, and the county attorney and I have talked about it, and he said he believes the statutes are pretty clear about that you have to bury, not cremate.
That's not 100% correct. The statutes indicate that the county does have responsibility when there is an indigent that is in need of burial. There are very specific statutes in the law about cremation and who can authorize a cremation. There is a list, a hierarchy in the statute, which Mr. Farmer and I have gone over countless times. The coroner is actually on that, but I'm sorry, not the coroner. The district judge is on that list, but there are certain things that have to be done to get a district judge everything they need in order to be able to authorize that cremation, and that includes the coroner doing a whole lot of legwork to make sure that there's not family available and whatnot. And some of what needs to happen is that Mr. Farmer and his agency need some ability to do some of that research, whether that is through online sources to determine, like background checks and things like that. Some of what's used, kind of like what law enforcement agencies use when they're trying to find relatives for someone, something along those lines. But a judge just can't up and sign it and say, well, nobody's come forward. It requires an affidavit from Bruce to say, we have checked all of these several different things, military records, things like that. And that's, at this point, his agency does not have the wherewithal to get those things done, apparently.
It's something that Mr. Gull and I have talked about, and maybe working out something where we can come up and get some software where we can do these kind of things. It's now, the part that they were found about cremations is a statute that coroners have never dealt with, per se. He's brought it to my attention. We've looked at it. We're calling some other people. And I understand the checks and balance system. That's no problem. It's just the manpower that's required to do it. And a lot of my staff's time this year has been listed on tracking down families. It's gotten a lot more complicated than what it used to be. And I've driven clear to Louisville, Shepherdsville to get people to sign stuff because they won't sign it otherwise. I mean, we're trying to get the families to claim the bodies. And if not, we're trying to get the families to agree to cremate the bodies and then get the ashes back to them of their loved one to decide what they want to do with. So this is getting pretty complicated. I got one right now that we've had for 5 weeks. I got to talk with the judge about after a while that we're going to have to end up doing something with because there is no family anywhere, and so we're working on that. But just wanted to make you all aware that it is in the process. We're going to hope to come up with something that by next budget year we'll have something in place to go by. And we figured that if we do a mirror of what the city does. Now, the real twist in that is the city attorney has advised that the city is not responsible for indigents. The city took on this program in 2004, and she was trying to convince the mayor and the city manager that they ought to get out of it completely and give it all to the county. And I'm trying to get everybody to work together on it, and right now we're still at that point. So,
and legally she is factually correct.
And legally that is correct, yes.
We're going to need to work together, though, because we don't own any cemeteries, and so far we've been able to figure out an answer to this. One thing I'd like to make clear is that we don't want to get into the habit of letting people think that merely leaving Uncle Joe for the county to take care of is really not acceptable if the family truly has the means to take care of their loved ones. Our resources are only to be used in last worst case scenarios where we simply cannot find any relatives. I would hate to set a precedent that if a family really doesn't want to worry about the expense, it's put on us. That's not what it's for. And I know that your department can also utilize some resources to help any remaining items in the estate of a deceased that does have value to be able to access those and help defer our costs, correct?
Yes, sir. It's one of these things where we can get an order and attach it. Is that the way this goes, Steve? Or?
Yes. Mr. Farmer and I and my staff have been over this quite a bit as well. The statute actually says after burial. So after the county has done a disposition of the body, be it burial or cremation or whatever, and the amount is then known, if it's a set amount at that point, there are steps that can be taken to try to effectuate some sort of recovery of funds against an estate. But that's not, Mr. Farmer at some points has tried to do that before disposition, and that does not appear to be contemplated within that statute.
Yeah.
So then you got to get somebody to.
It does not necessarily have to happen. In fact, in some ways, the way that statute reads, and this would be something we would have to clear by the local judges, but it appears to indicate that the coroner can just essentially execute against that without opening an estate. But again, that's something that has to happen after the burial. It's subsequent to the burial. Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's cart before the horse in some situations. Yeah.
I would try to point you a little bit in a direction. I had as a judge, as a district judge, I had somebody come in and said, we can't find anybody. I knew I done a title years ago on the same family. And Howard Moran's office had some software, and they found the people in Colorado for me. And it was, so you might go down and talk to the PVA's office and see what they've got, because it's pretty. They pay quite a bit of money for that software.
And you can track families with it?
Yes, sir.
Huh. Okay. We were just going through because Mr. Gold's office had been helping us do this, and something about you don't have the software anymore.
We no longer have access to Clear, but there are two different pieces of software out there. Clear is one of those that is used by law enforcement agencies and private detectives, and there's the other one. I forgot. We've given you that information a few times. I would be glad to get it for you again.
Yeah. So, we're working on this. We're just not trying to, now that we've learned there's other steps we got to do, we've backed off and knowing now what we have to do a little bit more, but it is making it a little bit more complicated and a little more time consuming, I guess, is the best bet. But yeah, we're trying to abide by all the statutes and all and go from there, and we're finding new ones that we weren't aware of. So we are trying to find the letter of the law and follow it accordingly, still be able to take care and do our jobs like we've got. So just want to make you aware we're working on it, and if you've got anybody that tries, it used to be they called the magistrates when those magistrates could help them bury somebody and all, and just what you got to do is if we're not already involved in the case, you got to get us involved in the case. So that's totally why I wanted to bring you all up on those two things, and you'll be hearing more back from us.
Thank you.
Hey, Bruce.
Yes.
Why was the disassociation with the funeral homes on the transportation part? What happened? Cost?
Cost is the biggest thing. We went, in my 25 years in the coroner's office, we went about 20 of those, and we never paid the funeral homes. The funeral homes come out all hours, day and night, pick up the bodies and transport them where we need them to. If family didn't know what funeral home they wanted. A couple of years ago, they came to me and said, that we're having to call our people out in the middle of the night. We're using our equipment and all. So we started off doing $100 a body. And then we went from there to $200 a body. And then I finally went, after they said they weren't going to do it anymore, they wanted $600 a body to transport a body. And I said, that's just totally unreasonable. That I talked with the judge, and I said, I can offer you what you all normally charge a family for a pickup in the county. And that didn't go. And what it boils down to is that people just, if it wasn't a case of theirs, they didn't want to get up in the middle of the night, is what it all boiled down to. And, you know, the owners of the funeral homes are getting older like us and don't make as many of the calls, and they count on their staff. The staff complained. So it totally went with that. And like I said, I've got a temporary fix for the moment that's basically like a day-to-day thing. Hopefully, you know, we hold it together until we get something worked out.
What's the temporary fix?
I have struck a deal with one of the funeral homes. He will come out alone in a van, their van, and then we have to help load them and then unload them and all. That we're doing that. And that's one of the things we're looking at. In Union County, they bought the coroner vehicle. Yeah. Webster County, the coroner is a funeral director and uses his vehicle. In Davis County, the ambulance service hauls them for the coroner and all there. So the one I've already talked to all the ones right around us, and I'm talking to some others, trying to figure out what's going to be the better route to go.
Thank you, Bruce.
Anything else?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else for good of the county? Yes, sir.
I would just like to publicly acknowledge my appreciation for Keith Todd from the Transportation Cabinet. He's done a great job for the past several years. We, in law enforcement, I'm guessing Bill gets a lot of these emails too when there's a road closed, when there's construction going on, the duration, the road's blocked because of a traffic accident, if there's a spill. And very timely reports, very accurate reports. He's the best I've seen in that job in my career. So Keith will be sorely missed. We look forward to working with his replacement. I know she'll do a great job too, but I would just like to ask her to go back to Keith and let him know how much we've appreciated his service and how important that's been to our community and communities all over Western Kentucky.
Keith's been great. Very professional. Anybody else for good of the county?
Judge, Court, I would like to apologize. Sorry I was late, but James did a pretty good job. And if y'all have any questions for me, I'd be glad to answer them. We will have a surplus ambulance that might be of use to the coroner's office. Just FYI.
Sounds like problem solved.
So.
And I believe, since it is a city-county owned organization, we can take possession of that at no charge. Let's talk about that. If you want to get with Bruce and figure that out, that'd be great.
That'd be great.
Okay. Anyone else? Magistrate Southern.
The mighty Ohio is coming up on us again, so we're getting ready to look at right at a 43-foot water is what they're predicting in Evansville. So that's going to cover up a lot of my district. Just remember, turn around, don't drown. It's pretty simple. Water's over the road, turn around. Be careful. And Alex, I want to tell you, congratulations. That's a big deal. It's not something everybody could do, or we'd be sitting here with a classroom full of people. So, congratulations. And all's good.
Magistrate Moran.
I'd also like to congratulate Alex. She was in one of my 4-H sewing classes, and she's really energetic, and I know she will do well, and all's well in District 2.
Magistrate Putman.
Well, I'd like to congratulate you, Alex. I won't be going to lunch with you. I think the judge is going to take you. I'm a little bit under the weather today, but I don't know what Jill and Kevin are doing in that household, but, we were here last year with your brother, was a scholar. And whatever it is, keep it on with the keeping on. It's because it's working. So I know you're bright and intelligent. You're going to do well. Congratulations. And all's good in the fourth, Judge.
Master Barry.
Good job, Kevin. Alice, congratulations. I know your parents quite well, and I know they're proud of you. Good job. Keep it up. I want to thank the judge for the moment of silence for Jeff. That's important, and he's in our thoughts and prayers. It's his family. So with that, the river is a battle. In my district, too, mine and Tim's kind of look alike, so we always watch that. But thanks, Bill, working on the bridge, and thanks, everybody, for attending today. Yes, sir.
Just Fred Benke from Emergency Management, just to let you all know, guys, we are keeping an eye on the river. We look at it every day. We looked at it already a couple times today. With rain coming, we will keep an eye on it. We'll keep you all posted.
Thank you. Very important.
Just so it gets on the record, our assistant emergency management officer let us know they'd be keeping a close eye on the flooding situation. So, thank you, Mr. Gold.
Well, Brady and Alex and I are buddies from way back. Her twin sister Brady is also. They probably had a really difficult decision because they had to pick one, which is very tough because this is a fantastic family. And it was a year ago, Alex, almost a year. It'll be a year tomorrow that I had a picture of myself with your brother sitting right there in that spot. And thank you for letting me take a picture with you. I am very happy to have been able to watch you grow up and turn into the wonderful young lady that you are, and I think it is a testament to your parents and all the great work that they're doing. So keep it up. It seems like just yesterday that your mother and I were both Jefferson Jaguars, and I'm proud that you are doing great things there too, just like your mom did. So congratulations. Keep up the good work, and if the judge is paying, please order double dessert at lunch and order the most expensive thing on the menu, okay?
Actually, she's going to join me for Lions Club lunch.
Awesome. Good.
And they have a long table of desserts.
Yeah.
She can have all the desserts she wants. So, yeah, we're going to go enjoy Lions Club together. She's going to be my special guest.
Awesome. I'll see you there.
Anything else?
All is good, Judge.
Alexis, I'll join the chorus and say congratulations. I'm looking forward to taking you to Lions Club and bragging on you there, too. But this is a big deal. I know your brother won it last year, but I don't care about him now. But I just want to congratulate you. Doing a great job. And you're absolutely a credit to Jefferson School. And I know they're very proud of you, and your mom and dad are, too. So way to go. It's been a tough week, 7 days. Cancer really stinks, and it's impacted my family recently. It's impacted our family here at work with the passing of Jeff Risley. I understand that our friend Susie Moore passed away after battling a tumor, and it just really reminds us that tomorrow is not guaranteed to anybody. And you got to really love on and hug on the people who are with you today, because you just never know about tomorrow. So keep everybody who's suffering from that terrible disease in your thoughts and prayers. If it's somebody in your family, we really are thinking about you. And hopefully the next week, the next month, the next year will be a little bit happier than the last week has been. But such is life. We're moving on, and remembering those who've passed, but working hard to make sure their hard work is not forgotten, and we build upon the foundation that they've helped us lay. So with that, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Motion is second. All those can leave.